This is Something to Talk About from the Bainbridge Island Senior Community Center. And Something to Talk About is a program that we do several times a week, usually Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And we record the programs, and you can watch them on YouTube at youtube.com/BI Senior Center after the fact. Today, we're going to be talking about photography. We, once a month, check in with a amateur photographer who is part of the Bainbridge Island Photo Club and talk with them about the exhibit that they have in our atrium, our lobby area in the senior center. And we also put those pictures up online at our website. We are grateful to Fieldstone Memory Care of Bainbridge Island. Fieldstone communities offer innovative and compassionate care, and they're accepting residents at their beautifully appointed apartments on Rolling Bay. If you'd like to look at those or find out about day stay and respite programs, call 360-689-4314. Also, we're grateful to the Suquamish tribe. This is the ancestral homelands of the Suquamish people and the people of the clear salt water, as they're also known, and we honor them, and we do our best to be good stewards of the land as they have been for thousands of years, time immemorial. Jane is with us today, Jane Herzog, and we're going to share photos that she has up, and I'm just going to put it on the screen here, Jane. This is a series that is titled Photography as Art. So, Jane?
Okay. Before discussing the images, I want to start by just thanking the Bainbridge Island Senior Community Center for providing the opportunity for our photo club to share our photos with the community. I have greatly benefited from the Bainbridge Photo Club. The expertise that my photography friends so freely share, the informative presentations, the bi-monthly photo challenges, and the meaningful fun field trips. I want to give a special thanks to Brian Leary of Light Source Journeys, who so carefully printed the images and has been an invaluable mentor in my photography journey. And finally, a shout out to my husband, Eric, who's with us, who has encouraged me in all aspects of life for the past 52 plus years. I've been interested in photography from the time I was a child. My eye has been drawn to lines, textures, and patterns. And in recent years, I've explored creating more abstract images. When I refer to photography as art, I refer to a quote by Art Wolfe. Photography is more than just the click of the shutter, as it can create a statement or evoke a feeling and thus become a powerful art form. The photos that you will see on the ledge were taken in the Seattle area, Philadelphia, Austin, Malibu, and Barcelona. They progress from the most realistic images on the left side of the exhibit to the most non-representational on the right. So let's begin with the first, which is that quiet reflection. Located on the 60th floor of the Comcast Technology Center, the tallest building in Philadelphia, the Four Seasons Hotel was designed by architect Norman Foster. The stunning, and I mean stunning, hotel lobby offers spectacular views of the city. The ceiling is a piece of art that provides striking and ever-changing views from the warm glow of a sunrise to the electric evening skyline. In this image, I wanted to capture the lines and reflections, the soft color, and convey that this space invites quiet thought. If you have any questions along the way, let me know. Next.
Okay, I have a question right off the bat, if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
I am wondering if you can tell us a little bit about that surface. Is it a mirrored surface at the top? Is that what we're seeing?
Right. It is actually a black stone that is throughout that area, and it's a black polished, highly polished stone, Reed, and so it just reflects everything.
Yeah, it beautiful use of line there. It's really it's really, you can't stop looking at the way that things interconnect.
Yeah, thanks. Okay, this is called Humanity in Motion. And in an adjacent building, which is the Comcast Center. It's adjacent to the Technology Center, the two buildings together in Philadelphia. I shot upwards to capture this installation created by an artist, Jonathan Borofsky. It's in a 140-foot tall glass atrium entranceway to the center. And it includes 10 horizontal pieces, each of which has a figure walking in or out of the building. The idea that every individual has a unique path to follow. The diagonal lines along with the main figure are the focal point in the photo. And during the editing process, I heightened the contrast between the dark tones and the whites, faded the background a bit to create a more dramatic, dreamlike effect. This is fun. Next is called Sky High. And the reason is in the Four Seasons Hotel, which I showed you, they have a Sky High, it's called the Sky High Restaurant. Again, this is on the 60th floor. And it has an atrium featuring 40-foot glass walls and custom geometric shard of angled mirrored ceiling that reflects both diners and the city below. Reflections off the black stone floor create a mirror effect. It's as if you're looking through an ultra-modern glass tunnel. I love the lines and the perspective, as well as Jeff Letham's floral installations in this space. Just note the touch of color with the yellow forsythias and the effective lighting at the base of each round vase. Now, I want to mention something about that boy who is not a relative. I don't know who he was, but you'll notice he's flexing his muscles. One of the things, it's a reminder that Philadelphia has the 72 stone steps leading up to the entrance of the Philadelphia Museum of Art. They have become known as the Rocky Steps as a result of a scene from the '76 film Rocky. Tourists often mimic the famous climb, which is the metaphor for an underdog or everyman rising to the challenge. And like the boy in this photo, they also raise their arms and flex their muscles to celebrate strength and victory. This next one is called Humanity in Motion 2. I shot downward from the outdoor plaza at the Arenas Mall in Barcelona. It was once a bullfighting ring in which I actually sat with my parents as spectators over 55 years ago. I wanted to capture the motion of the cyclists and pedestrians moving in opposite directions, their shadows, the contrast between dark and light, and preserve the splash of color in the central couple. The strong dotted diagonal lines provide an energy in the photo. This is called Burl Tree. The Grove of the Patriarchs, Mount Rainier National Park, is a wonderland of old growth trees. By the way, at the moment, I believe it's closed as they repair the bridge that is in that area. 3 years ago, I was fortunate to be part of a photography workshop led by Art Wolf. He instructed the group to spend 45 minutes just studying a very small area near the suspension bridge. 99% of the thousands of visitors who pass quickly through this area don't take the time to notice the details of the Douglas fir, silver fir, hemlock, western red cedar, and other old growth trees and bustling forest growth. I spent most of my time studying this particular Burl Tree, the beautiful colors, the swirls of bark, and figures that begin to emerge the longer you study it.
Yes, that is interesting. It's got, I mean, it's obviously full of motion and life, even though at this point, the picture you're taking is pretty static, right?
Right.
It looks, I mean, it's got the look of volcanic activity almost.
Yeah, it's almost like a Rorschach read. For me, I see a bird in the upper third, and other, like a duck on the upper. I mean, the longer you look, the more you see things.
And I should remark, as you mentioned, these are on the ledge, so you can come to the senior center and just walk in the lobby and look at them up close for a while if you want. They're also online, but they're this size. The program we have in WordPress doesn't allow me to make them full screen, unfortunately.
Well, speaking of ducks, this is called Spirited Waterfowl. This was taken at the Living Desert Garden and Zoo located in Palm Desert, California, which is the home to over 500 animals, a botanical garden that specializes in conservation through preservation of deserts of the world and has an exceptional, if you ever get there, model railroad. I took this photo hoping, as with the previous photo of the Burl Tree, to catch this abstract quality. And in this case, we see complementary colors and textures of the moving duck and the ripples in the water, and the white feather in the lower left adds to the image. This is called Sunlight, La Sagrada Familia. La Sagrada Familia is Antoni Gaudi's one-of-a-kind church in Barcelona, Spain. It includes vibrant stained glass windows which provide captivating natural light. My intent in the photo was to convey the abstract painterly quality of the light, as well as the slightly blurry supporting columns that frame the windows. By the way, if you've never been to Barcelona and seen this very well-known church, it is the giant as you look at the city. It just stands out, and it's very different than almost anything you've ever seen. One of the fun, quick stories is that when Antoni Gaudi received his diploma from the School of Architecture, the dean handed him his diploma, shook his hand and said, "Antoni," quietly, he said, "you're either a genius or you're crazy." And he actually was a little of both. Okay. This is called Exploration in Color. I was drawn to our grandson's silhouetted figure against the bright colors of this changing display at the Thinkery, which is a children's museum in Austin, Texas. His hand links him to the screen and highlights the invitation to explore the exhibit. And in terms of composition, I intentionally placed him off-center. The colors and shapes are defined, and yet they blend into one another.
Yeah, I love the sort of clear and almost psychedelic, or maybe that's not the right word, but brilliant sense of the color played against that black profile, the silhouette you have there.
Thanks. Now this is called Chihuly Magic. I took this photo last year, late in the afternoon, at the beautiful Chihuly Garden and Glass in Seattle. Chihuly is always interested in the way that form interacts with light and space. And this particular dynamic asymmetrical installation consists of curvilinear tentacles that are flashing at the time I took it in the bright sun. During the editing process, I experimented with different color tones and decided to stack them one on top of the other to create this image. This next one is called Ripples of Color. About a year ago, I went to Fisherman's Terminal in Ballard and focused on the textures, designs, and lines of the older fishing boats, the chipped paint, the crackled glass, and the rust. In addition, there are many beautiful reflections of the boats in the water. And as you can see in this photo, the ripples create this silky, abstract pattern. Again, I experimented with color tones during post-processing, creating this impressionist-like image. Note the progression from the previous Chihuly Magic, in which the shapes were more defined, to this more non-representational impressionist type image.
Jane, I like the abstract quality of this one quite a bit. I think you really got a good sense of shooting an adjective, and it works really well.
Thanks. Okay. And the next is called Variations in Stone, hiking along the Streamside Trail in scenic Malibu Creek State Park in California. This was the location, by the way, used for the filming of MASH. This sandstone formation caught my eye. Within these rocks, there were images of mountain landscapes that mirrored the area we walked through, the contrasting qualities, smooth and rough, and the shades of color. During editing, I explored the possibilities of using warm and cool colors, each one creating a very different mood. It was like a cubist painting in 3D that I decided to place the small variations, one overlapping the other, to enhance the impact. Cheers. Early one morning, I went to the same Philadelphia Four Seasons Sky High restaurant to take photos of the sunrise over the city. It was very interesting. The camera I use is a Sony mirrorless Alpha 7 Roman numeral 3 mirrorless camera. And as I walked into the restaurant, the host requested that I not use that camera. I think he was concerned that I was taking professional pictures, which I definitely wasn't. And I sort of laughed to myself and I said, iPhones, other smartphones are allowed in, and the quality of those keeps getting better and better. So I just thought it was fun. Here I was drawn to the inverted glasses, especially the bases, which reminded me of the circus acts of those plates spinning. So instead of taking the whole glass, I focused separately on the bases and the bowls. At first, I mounted these two separate panels on a white background, and in the printing process, Brian and I agreed that the acrylic dowels, these would be more like stems and much more impactful.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I really like this. I think it's really a lot of fun, Jane.
And when you see it in person, you'll see that there are photographs on the top and bottom, and then there are these acrylic stems that tie them together. So it's multimedia, right?
Right. This is multimedia, which is the subject of our discussion this coming Wednesday, the third Wednesday workshop at our photo club meeting. So I'll be talking more about this. Okay, this is called Patterns of Rust. As I mentioned, I went to Fisherman's Terminal, which is a wonderful place for photographers to go to take images. And this was, as I said, of the older fishing boats that have quite a bit of rust. In the photo, I put together 3 bands that are actually detailed images from a weathered, rusty wall to create an abstract photo. And I chose the textured, complementary colored background to make the 3 bands pop out a bit. And finally, last but not least, my most abstract. I took this shot at the Fisherman's Terminal of one of the colorful boat reflections. This is, as I said, my most non-representational photo in the Ledge collection. And it is like a painting with drips of blues, whites, browns. The name Ice Princess comes from the lower section. It looks like she has a crown looking over a balcony. For years, I have been fascinated with these water reflections, the colors and shapes. These images are both challenging and engaging to edit because there are no defined boundaries. That's it. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Any comments or questions now that we've concluded the look?
Really nice work, Jane. Thank you. And I would encourage anyone that hasn't been down to see the photographs. The prints themselves are just gorgeous.
Thank you.
Yes, very nice presentation. I like this.
Yeah, these are wonderful. I'm so impressed with your vision and it was very nice to have the detail that you shared and where these were taken and how you went about it. Just really
Yeah, it
good.
is. It is kind of interesting. The layer of information adding to the abstraction makes them even more interesting. This one in particular, knowing that it was reflected water kind of helps me dance a little bit more with it than when I just saw it. So that's kind of interesting about different forms of art. And, you know, there's always a question in art world about how much that you know about the creator or about the condition versus just looking at the product itself.
Mhm. Yeah, I think it helps to give a context if you have the opportunity, and also let the photos speak for themselves as well.
Well, thank you very much for taking the time, and I am sure that I will go back and watch this again. And as we said, the images are up on the ledge here at the Senior Center through the end of September.
Thanks so much for this opportunity.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Jane.
Jane. That was great.
Thank you.